Hi guys, and welcome back to Koi Fish Johnny. This is going to be a mixed episode because obviously we're approaching the end of the season. It's getting a lot cooler. I even contemplated putting the pond covers on, and it is literally like the middle of September, which I definitely didn't have them on in September last year. So I'm just wondering whether you guys have got your lids on your pond or your covers on your pond, what you're using on your ponds type of thing. Because I really was tempted the other day, because it's definitely got that chill factor now at night time. You know, like the heating was actually on this morning for the kids. Obviously one of my boys is crawling, so put the heated floor on because it's very cold on his feet. Anyway, I'm going off on a side subject today. Back to the pond and the temperature. So I've actually got the temperature gauge in there. It's looking about 16 degrees at the minute, which is, it feels a lot colder, and the water feels a lot colder than that. Obviously we've got a bit of a wind factor, which the covers would help take the chill factor from the wind on the surface of the pond and cooling it down. There's a few other questions that I've got for you as well going through this, and around how to save money going into the winter. Basically, I noticed a few people have mentioned turning their aeration off to the pond. Now, that isn't something I've ever done. In any of the years I've done, even with a sunken pond, I never turned the aeration off. I thought the koi needed it throughout the winter. I've been doing a spot of reading on it, and people on the forums that I've read, or not on the forums, on the web pages I've read, it said it's good for the bacteria and the breaking down of fish poop from the ammonia and everything, I believe, or this is the quick surface skim read I've done, and it says basically to keep your aeration on. But I know that some people turn it off, or intermittently turn it on and off, and I'm not sure what the right option would be in relation to that. The other one is the UV light. Now, I literally have just been on a little column reading about this, and so many people do so many things differently in relation to this. Now, obviously, gas and electricity, or particularly electricity in this case, has just gone through the roof. So if I could turn one of the plug sockets off, stop spending money on that throughout the winter, it'd probably save me about £1,000 a minute. No, it's a joke, obviously, but it'd save me a decent amount of money if it's unnecessary. But I read about someone was concerned about whether it'd freeze, and then other people supported the person and said no, because it's got running water flowing through it consistently all the time, it won't be able to freeze, so don't worry about it, and it won't damage your UV light system over the winter. Obviously I had massive issues with my UV light in the spring, so I'm looking forward to that fight again. So I'm just wondering whether you turn yours off to save money or you don't. And I've actually got a little thing about money and how it works, or should I say a little bit of a not game, but a little bit of a something that might blow your mind at the end of this video, or towards the end of the video I'm going to do in relation to money and the 8th wonder of the world. Honestly, it will blow your mind. From the day that I sort of seen this or understood it, I was like, wow, nobody ever gets the answer right. In fact, no one's even ever close with the answer. So unless you know, you won't know, but by the time of the end of this video, if you watch it all, you will know what I'm talking about, and I'm waffled on. Right, so go back to the pond. Let's have a little wander over and see the current temperature, because I think that we're approaching, like the way that I do my feeding is thanks to Phil at Telford Koi Pond, who educated me last year. I follow his sort of system, which is below 10 degrees, wheat germ, easy to digest, good on the fish's stomach, doesn't sit heavy, and throughout the main season from 10 to 18, all season sort of feeding, and then anything above 18 degrees is high protein. I haven't strictly followed that, but I think it's a great sort of guideline to use, do you know what I mean? And we are approaching that time where I think this pond very shortly will be below 10 degrees. So my pond temperature 16.1 at present. And while I'm here, I'm looking at the fish from the top down view. I will also tell you, as you look at them, hopefully you can see it as well as I can, my Jaffa cake, or Jaffa biscuit, however you want to go about it, he's a new leader at the pond, isn't he? Like, that's exactly what I was looking for when I was looking for the fish, to find a character. He was doing the snapping thing, which there's no definitive answer from anybody about that, other than I personally believe it's like a lot of people said it's a male fish thing, and sometimes it's like an eating thing where it's too big for them and they're trying to snap it down. I'm just going to call it a bit of character, just a bit of something different, a bit of a leader, the dominant fish, because that's what it seems to be. Two dominant fish in my pond, both do that, none of the others do. So I'm going to make stuff up and just say it's because he's the dominant fish, he's showing off. It's not. It's to do with something else, but you'll need a proper fish spurt for the 100% answer. Marty, Jaffa and Rosa have had a huge effect on the pond. I mean, I've been talking to the wife about it, I've been stood in the kitchen looking at the pond, watching the pond at night, and the feel-good factor, the buzz factor is back in the pond. I'm enjoying the pond again, because I'm not going to lie to you, when I did that mistake, stupid thing with the potassium permanganate, it destroyed a little part of me, like sort of went with my like looking at the pond. Do you know, like I was just a bit subdued, a little bit like gutted, wounded, devastated, embarrassed, upset, all that type of stuff looking at the pond. And I was just looking and I was always like, oh, I wish Fred was there and stuff like that. But that's going backwards. But now going forwards, these three really bringing the pond out, especially Jaffa. It had to be Jaffa, didn't it? King Jaffa. He has brought the pond back around. Oh, that reminds me, on the Jaffa cake subject, not to go to provoke anyone that's been provoked in this argument, that got deeply upset about it being called a biscuit or a cake, but I was eating an oat cake the other day. Now an oat cake is surely a biscuit, is it not? And do they pay their tax on that? Okay, so interesting questions, just throwing it out there. And one of the other things is, the wife went absolutely mad at me the other day, or not absolutely mad, but she mentioned the fact we've got 3 fish in there that we've had for like a couple of years, which we haven't given names to. So I'm going to be naming them, maybe over the winter, because as you know, this hobby is seasonal, and when the sun's out, the fish are out, and when the sun's in, the lids are on and the fish, and it's all very quiet unless you've got a heated pond. To which I'd love somebody to sort of say a rough estimate how much it costs to heat their pond, what gallonage it is, because mine's about 2,400 gallons, and I'm contemplating eating it, but with the energy prices and I can't justify it. I simply cannot justify spending that money. I wish this shirt warmed up the pond, because I think it's looking fresh. The wife bought me this one, brand new spanker. I wasn't keen on it when I looked at it in the bag. I'll put it on, I like it, and it's just to mark the end of basically summer and this fresh little shirt coming out. Okay, so we're gonna have a little wander around the back in a minute, where I've sort of leveled it out to a degree, and I'm just waiting on my builder coming round and putting the concrete base in, and then maybe we'll be able to order the container in the next month and get that located there across the back. As I said, we're not going to be doing it up straight away. We're going to be waiting into next year to sort of get the doors on, get the look about it. But for the time being, the office is just going to be, it's just going to be storage basically across the back there. It's going to look a little bit like a container in your garden, really. Yeah, that's exactly what it's going to look like. So another thing I'm also going to be doing is I always put some salt into my pond going into the winter. Some people, another subject which is controversial, the pond keeping and fish keeping, basically life is full of controversial subjects. So we're going to cover them all here on the pond keeping one. Salt, another one. People salt a lot. Some people don't, or salt all year round. Some people salt in the winter. Some people don't salt at all. But the method that's worked for me and I found the best is, I'm not saying I won't change it, because I will. As I grow into this, my knowledge changes. I might change my direction. Do you know what I mean? I might adapt as my knowledge grows. But at the minute, what I do is put a little level of salt in October-ish, just to take them through the winter, to help fight against bad bacteria, parasites, bits and pieces like that. Just steady the fish down, calm them down, help them with the osmosis levels, which basically osmosis is just keeping the right level of water in their body for them. Just whip that right off the top of my head, because I ain't done that. I ain't spoke about osmosis since I did the video on osmosis. I ain't even said the word, but that's one fascinatingly great word, and I reckon on Scrabble that's a decent one, is it? Actually, it's not as good as it sounds on Scrabble. It's only a low scoring one. Love Scrabble. Okay, and also on another note, the pond game, brilliant response. I absolutely love it. But you guys have hit the nail on the head straight away. Sorry, I'm gonna have to go this way. You've hit the nail straight on the head, a lot of you, with your perspectives on what you think is best. My point is, or the ultimate point going into it is, the fish is as good. The best fish in there is the fish that you like the most. They're all priced the same, it's just the fish that you like the most. But I'm gonna have to, it's gonna be like a little bit of a spreadsheet job, this, adding it up. So I'm gonna do that mid next week when I get a moment, bang it all up, and then on the next weekend's video, we'll be able to tell you which fish come top, first, second, third, fourth, fifth and sixth and the last fish, and I'll tell you who won out of me and Dave on the total scores. Remember, we're aiming for the least amount of points, and to be honest, I think I'm going to hold my own here. I thought I was punching above my weight out of taking Dave on, but I think I've done all right. Another thing on a completely different subject, or not completely different subject, but I am missing someone online that I absolutely love their videos. I've been watching their videos well before I started building a koi pond, like literally just as soon as I got into keeping koi. This guy was providing outstanding, funny, great content, and I watched a lot of his videos. He had a fish called Daisy, who it was quite emotional, that episode. I remember watching it, and he seems to have dropped off the planet Earth. But I want to get James, the koi fish whisperer, back out your cave and back to doing some bloody videos, because I really enjoy watching them, mate. So if you're watching this, James, or anyone that knows James that can drop him a line, get in touch with him and get him to pull his finger out of his jacksie and get some videos back on, because he makes me laugh. That's just something I want to see back. I want to see James back on the scene and back with his videos, because he's a belting lad, or he comes across as a belting lad, and he helped inspire me to have the confidence to do what I'm doing now, be it on a lot smaller scale. But watching his videos allowed me to be me in front of the camera without having to try and be someone else, because he is just James. You know what I mean? He's just a funny dude, man, and he doesn't really adapt to anything. He is what he is, and that's what's great about him. So he helped inspire me, and I'd love him to get his, like I say, get back on scene, James. Okay, so 2 things left to do now. We're gonna have a little wander around the back over there. It's turned out a longer episode than I thought this, because basically I chat too long. So I'll just have a little wander, spin you around, wander around the back here and show you. Basically it's just like you'd imagine it would be, really. It's just a big old hole that needs filling with concrete, so we can put the base in there. Not the greatest angle. I know there's a nice little big green bin in there. Just basically waiting for my man to turn up and put me a concrete base down, and then I will be very, very happy. Right at the beginning of the video I said something, and I said it's going to be like one of those things, like I ask you a question and we'll see if you can guess the answer, and I guarantee you if you don't know you'll be amazed, and I guarantee you'll repress it to someone else. Okay, so it's quite a peculiar one, this, to try and do it, and it's completely off subject. It's just about money, obviously, with the electric going up and pond savings. It's relevant to this sort of scenario. So if 1p doubles every day, right, for 30 days, how much will you have at the end? It's not a trick question, but it is a genuinely outstanding question, and it explains the 8th wonder of the world. So if 1p doubles, so on day 2 it'll be 2p, on day 3 4p. You get the idea. All right, so how much money, and no cheating, and you'll be able to Google this at the end, so don't worry. We'll put a 30-second limit on it. All right, so get working that out in your head. Try and get as close as you can that you think that 1p doubling every day will be at the end of it. Okay, so doubling as in it just doubles its money every day. So if you doubled your money every day for 30 days and started with 1p, what would you have? You are genuinely going to be amazed at this. They call this the 8th wonder of the world, compound interest. It's how the banks make their money and investors make their money, making APR work in reverse for you. They don't teach this at schools, but I'm teaching it on Koi Fish Johnny, because I want you to understand. You will have, or whoever does this, 1p doubling every day to get to, on day 30, you will have, I think it's about £5.6 million. Yep, honest to God, right? I am not lying. I know this is outstanding. The closest guess I've ever had is someone trying to be a smart ass, and they said about 100 grand. All right, that's the closest. Normally people are saying 1,000 or 100 quid or 200 quid, right? I'm gonna, in fact, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take a screenshot of something. I'll crop it in now. I'll crop it in now, because I'm that kind of guy that's grown into this. I can crop it in. I'll crop it in now so you can see the 1p turn into 2, turn into 4, turn into 8, turn into 16, turn into 32, 64, well, whatever else goes on after that. You can see in this now. I know a lot of you'll be pausing this, and I recommend you do pause it. I'll probably pop it in at the end of the video as well, so you can see how amazing is that. How amazing is that? Okay, so there you go. You weren't expecting that type of lesson today, were you? Okay, welcome to Koi Fish Johnny. We cover all subjects in all ways, but it's always centered around the pond. This episode is a little bit mad. It's all over the show. It's a red Hawaiian shirt day with my fingers being cold. The pond temperature is at 16.1. Don't know whether to put my lids on my roof, and we're doubling money. Let's try and double our money for 30 days, guys. 5.6 million bangers. Get on that.